right, so this is the little contraption I made. I'm going to go a little bit over the respiratory system. This is to include the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs, alveoli, diaphragm, intercostal muscles, and the phrenic nerve. First off, in the inspiration phase, the diaphragm contracts and it moves down to give room in the thoracic cavity. The intercostal muscles contract and move the chest up and outward to also give more room for the lungs to expand. So when that thoracic cavity increases in volume, the pressure inside the cavity, the pressure inside will decrease, and that's what will allow air to be drawn in. So air flows from a place of higher pressure to lower pressure, which would be in the lungs. This air travels through the trachea, the bronchi, to the bronchioles, and then finally alveoli, where gas exchange occurs. And that, so what would happen, inspiration is diaphragm comes down, lungs inflate. During expiration, the diaphragm relaxes and moves to its original position and moves upward, and the intercostal muscles relax and returns to, again, that normal state. So this increases or decreases the volume in the thoracic cavity. The pressure within the thoracic cavity increases. This then creates a positive pressure in the thoracic cavity. The increased pressure forces out air of the lungs, again through the bronchi, trachea, and finally out of the body through the nasal pharynx and oral pharynx. There is a lot of things to do with pressure in this. Atmospheric pressure, generally when the pressure inside the thoracic cavity is higher than the pressure outside of the body, the atmospheric pressure, you're going to be breathing out. That's your expiration phase. And when it's lower when the pressure is lower than that of the atmospheric pressure, that's your inspiration phase. So again, that when during inspiration, the diaphragm and intercostal muscles increase the volume of the thoracic cavity, creating negative pressure. So they inflate the lungs, and then during the expiration phase, the volume decreases, creating positive pressure that forces the air out of the lungs. So what happens when different things happen, like when we're bagging someone and ventilating for them? Few things that could happen if you're overinflating the lungs. One could be a pneumothorax. It's basically air leaking into that pleural space and outside of the lungs where you don't want it. The other one would be cardiac output and reduced gas exchange. The other thing is that the physical changes, if you're too slow or too rapid of breathing, if that's something that's occurring within the body, it could start leading into alkalosis or acidosis, depending on if it's slow or labored breathing or if it's fast breathing. And increased or decreased CO2 levels is another issue that could occur. We depend on that CO2 drive. Your body detects a certain amount of CO2 in the body, and that's what triggers the phrenic nerve to say, hey, we need to breathe. So that's my project.